My name's Hector Silva. I'm currently the Director of Administration for ACTS Missions. Before coming to work for ACTS Missions, I did 30 years of active service with the United States Marine Corps, and I did 3 combat tours. After I retired in December 2007, I was hired in March of 2008 to be the Deputy Officer in Charge for the Marine Corps Wounded Warrior. And at that time is when I realized, and it reminded me of the sacrifices that all of our service members contribute in defending our country.
My name is Kirsten Verkamp. I served in the United States Air Force as a registered nurse for almost 22 years, and I deployed to Bagram and served in the intensive care ward for 7 months. The patients that we saw in Afghanistan were fairly young. Most of them had pretty significant extensive wounds, a lot of fractures, a lot of abdominal injuries from blasts. We saw a lot of burns and did a lot of wound care. When we came there, one of the doctors had done an in-service on compassion fatigue, and I hadn't anticipated seeing that or experiencing that for myself, but I was taking care of a young Afghan. He said that he was a 15 or 16-year-old kid, and it struck me as a mom because that was the age of my oldest son. And then you realize what a blessed country we live in, and you take a lot of freedoms for granted.
My name is Mark Wattis, sir. I served in the Marine Corps for 16 years. My family is very proud of serving in the military. My father served during the Vietnam War. His unit was one of the first squadrons to go into combat when the war first broke out. His father served in the Navy on the USS California. My maternal grandfather served in the Marine Corps at the tail end of World War II and right as the Korean War started. This photo is a photo that appeared in Time magazine. It shows us right before we took the bridge going into Baghdad. One of my teams came under sniper fire. So when my lead squad member was shot, I ran forward with the smoke grenade to cover his movement. And as I prepared to throw the smoke grenade, I suffered a gunshot wound to the head. The grenade went off my hand, shot the phosphorus down my arm, and it burned my forearm from my wrist down to about this far down my arm. And my head injury was a pretty traumatic brain injury. I felt like I was a failure to my family by allowing myself to get shot. I had a lot of guilt in letting myself get hurt. First thing that I wanted was to get back on a plane and go back overseas to my team. And that was a very hard pill to swallow, was the fact that they would not let me go back.
My name's Yvonne Briscoe. My husband's name is Michael Briscoe. He served in the U.S. Navy for 20 years. 11 of those years he served it on a submarine. Through all of that, he's managing PTSD on a daily basis. In the very beginning, when he first got out of the Navy, it was very, very hard. I felt like the man I married was not the man that came home from the military. He just was distant. He didn't like to be out in public, loud noises, very angry and mad. I want everyone to know that just because the veteran comes home doesn't always mean that he's gonna have a physical disability. There's some pain that doesn't go away.
I was approached to participate in an ACTS retreat in January 2011 to have our wounded Marines participate, and we did. And I realized how important it was for these Marines to be around fellow brothers and be able to share their experiences of combat and to be able to share what it was that was weighing so heavily in their souls and in their minds and their hearts.
So ACTS was healing because I think I had a lot of guilt and regret in balancing the Air Force with my own personal life. And ultimately, I realized that I don't have to be the strong person, or I don't have to be the perfect person, or I don't have to be in the top 5% or 10%. We just have to be what God has created us to be and do it to the best of our ability.
I just made a decision that I'm going to sign us up for something and hope that this will get us grounded again, see eye to eye again, make God the center of our marriage again. It's like somebody knew what I was feeling, and the times that were hard, that you think to yourself, where's God in this situation? It just rekindled my faith, and I didn't want to leave. I wanted to just be there and be stronger for him, because he needed us. He needed us to help him, and God helped me through that.
My Acts experience helped me to realize that there's a different battle that I had to fight now, and that was a spiritual fight. That coming to peace internally and spiritually was my new battle. That retreat felt like a real homecoming to me, and being appreciated for everything that I had been through and that I had done. That was the greatest eye-opener, greatest spiritual help that I could have gotten.
You, as a former Marine, how does it make you feel to see these individuals recover the way they do their lives?
Powerful. All of our soldiers, sailors and Marine and airmen, there's a need of that spiritual growth and connection with God, because with all the combat experiences or training and the deployments that they do, you have a tendency to lose that your faith and your connection with God.
In honor of tomorrow being Veterans Day, please join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.